Hey everyone, I'm Lauren from My Something Beautiful Life, and today I have a really unique planner to show you. This is the Steadfast Overscattered Planner from Anchored Women, and we'll get into a lot of the details as we go through it, but this is actually a planner that is only sold digitally. And the benefit of that is that there are actually over 30 different weekly layouts that you can choose from. And along with only printing the pages that will work for you, you can create a planner that is completely customized exactly for what you need. I did receive the digital files for this planner for free. However, I did print and put it all together myself. The creator of this planner and Anchored Women is Kayse, and she is very sweet, and she gave me a discount code to share with you. So from now until the end of 2025, if you use code BEAUTIFUL, you can get 15% off the full price of this planner. That is also my affiliate code, so if you do use that code, I will get a small commission from it. But I do really love how this planner is set up and everything that it includes. And so if you are somebody who struggles using a planner throughout the year because your needs change and you just need a different layout, even if you're just somebody who tends to get bored with their planners, I do that all the time, this could be a really great option for you because you can switch it up anytime that you need to. So the first thing I actually want to mention is the cost of printing, because I feel like that's everybody's main obstacle for it. I have something called HP Instant Ink, which means I pay a monthly fee and I have a certain amount of pages I can print each month. And regardless of the amount of ink on the page or whether I use color or black and white, it costs me the same as long as I stay within my page count. I have been using it for years and I really love that. You do have to have an HP printer that is eligible for that program. But if that is something that you are interested in, I will link to that below as well. I do print a lot, and so for me it is definitely worth it because anytime I run out of ink, they just send me more ink. I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to worry about the volume of ink I'm using. It's all based on the page count that I'm printing, and that just works really well for me. There are other options though. It's pretty well known that if you take it to like an office store to try to print it, it's going to be very expensive. I know there's a website that you can send it to that is cheaper to print through, and I've heard good things about it. In fact, I think Kayse even links to it in some of the intro explanation of her planner. And so I will see if I can find a link to that as well. And I believe it's something where you send them the file and then they will print it for you. And I have heard that it's much cheaper than going to like an office supply store, especially if you're looking to have it in color. But due to the nature of this planner, what I would actually recommend is not printing it all at once. I would do the intro pages, which I will show you, and maybe even your monthly calendars right at the beginning, at least for a few months. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend printing the full year all right at the beginning, just because one of the main points of this planner is that you can change your layout whenever you want. And so if you try out a layout at the beginning of the year, you think it's going to work great and then it doesn't, if you've printed the whole year, then that would be really discouraging, I feel like. And so what I would recommend is actually printing out like a few, maybe even like 2 or 3, not even that many, or just even trying one at a time, and just test out the layout, see which one works really well for you, and then you can print a few of them. But I probably wouldn't print more than like a month or 2 at a time, just in case your needs change, then you're not out too much on the printing. And if you are only printing, say, 1 month at a time, that's not going to be too bad to even print it at home. And so for me personally, I think if printing was an issue, I think that's the way I would go. I would print out like my staple pages and maybe some of the monthly pages, and then just leave all the weekly layouts and only print them maybe 1 month at a time. And for how I have this set up, I have this in a hardcover that I already had. I already had these discs. The discs are from Happy Planner. The cover is from Inkwell Press, although I don't know if either one is available anymore. The discs might be, but I know that this cover is discontinued. They have some other ones though if you really want one. I love Inkwell Press covers. I think they are really nice. This one is more of like a vegan leather, but they also have some that just have like a more smooth texture. You can also even find these covers on Amazon now, so there's tons of different options. And you don't even have to do a hardcover. You could do the laminated ones like Happy Planner has. And there's tons of other companies that make disc planners. Office Depot and Staples both have their own brand of disc planners, as well as Lavenger. Now that I say that out loud, I'm wondering if I mispronounced it. Hopefully I didn't. But they also have disc planners that you can purchase online too. You don't even have to use discs. You can use a 3-ring binder. You could have it spiral bound, like if you take it to the office supply store, then they can spiral bind it for you. although that doesn't work well if you are going to be adding in pages every month. That makes it a little hard to have something so permanent. Another option that I would highly recommend is an A5 binder like this. This one is from Moterm, but you can get them as low as $9, $10 on Amazon too. Even the ring planners don't have to be a huge investment, but I love A5 size, and so something like this would work really well for me. And that still gives you the flexibility to be able to add and remove pages as needed. The files that you receive will be 8.5 by 11. I shrunk mine to 80% in order to print them on this size, which is 7 by 9.25 inches. This is another one of my favorite sizes to use, and I love the option of having the discs to easily remove and add in pages, so this is what I chose to use for now. Another thing I do want to point out that as I was preparing these pages, I did print them on really cheap paper for the most part, so on some of them you will be able to see shadowing. Just keep in mind, I really did use like the cheapest paper I could find because I want to test out a bunch of these layouts and just see how they work before fully committing to printing everything on like the best paper. Once I've solidified the pages that I really need, then I will print them on nicer paper. And what I really like is 32-pound HP paper. It is very smooth, not like glossy smooth, but it just doesn't have much grit to it, which I feel like it prints better on. My colors always come out much brighter that way, and it's just one of my favorite papers. So eventually that is what I will probably use to just print out like my final version of that. But for now, I just wanted to kind of test everything out and see how it goes. And so I wanted to just play around with it without much pressure. So most of them I did print on like a 20-pound paper. There are a few exceptions to that, and one of them is this cover. This one I actually printed it on cardstock and then I laminated it with a 5mm lamination. So it is fairly thick, not quite as thick as like a laminated planner cover, but it's pretty decent. There are a lot of different covers that you can choose from as well. Even though I have the hardcover, I wanted to put one of the pretty ones inside here, and I laminated it so that it will hold up well over time. So this is the one I chose. It's a hexagon pattern, but there are quite a few different covers that you can choose from. So you can see here that the title of this planner is Steadfast over Scattered, and it's abbreviated as the SOS Planner. And one thing that I really love about this planner is just all of the different aspects of your life that you can cover in here. It really is focused on keeping things organized and just keeping the chaos out of your brain, because I know that's something that's so easy to feel. So I have this title page here, and then the first thing that we have is a little introduction. We have 5 different steps here to just keep in mind as you go through the setup, because there are so many options to this planner. It can be a little easy to get overwhelmed by the amount of pages that are offered. And so as I go through what I have here, I want to kind of go through the sections and how it's set up. So hopefully that will help you as you choose your pages and print them out too. So we have this first section. This is everything that comes before the actual calendars. This is all your goal setting pages and yearly overviews, things like that. So first we have a reflect page and a refresh, just some things to kind of look at where you are right now and things that you want to change in the future, maybe just some of the things that aren't going so well. Next page that we have is your focus for the year and your verse for the year. This is a Christian-based company, and so there will be some references to the Bible in here. However, I did find that most of them were either not as prominent as in some other planners, or they could be easily removed by just not choosing those pages to use. So for example, this one, you could always cover this up and just use it for something different. I personally really love the idea of picking a verse for the year. I've never thought of that before, and so I think that's a really great idea. And so I might try doing that in 2026. The next page that we have over here is the bucket list for the year, and it has the checklist here and then some notes. Then we have our goal setting pages. There are 2 different types of pages. You could use both of them, or you could just choose one. I kind of like the idea of using both, so we'll see how it goes. So this page is set up more with categories of goals, while this one is based more on the season of the year. And so I could see how different types of goals would fit into each of these, and both of them still be helpful. So for the categories, we have physical wellness, mental wellness, relationships, fun, finance, and work/personal. And then you have space for 2 goals for each of those, and you can mark whether it's a project goal, a habit goal, and which quarter you want to work on it. And I love that you have the option to either use both of them or just pick one. The next page that we have is the 2026 yearly overview. And so on this side, we have the calendar, and then we also have a space here where we can just write down any notes for each of those months. And this next one, I realized I actually printed it upside down. So this page should actually be right here. Not printed it, sorry, punched it. I punched it upside down. So we have 2027, the calendar, and then the space to write down any notes for that year. Something else I failed to mention is that when you purchase this planner, you actually get 18 months worth of dated monthly calendars. All of the weekly calendars are undated so that you can use them interchangeably without wasting paper. Maybe you printed out a bunch of one and then didn't use it for a while, but then wanted to go back to it. You haven't wasted those pages because they're all undated, but all of the yearly pages and the monthly calendars are dated. So this page actually goes like this, and then on the back of it is a notes page. And the next thing that we get into is our ideal routines. So on this page, we have the morning routine, we have the evening routine, then we have my ideal day and my ideal week. And this is kind of the end of that beginning section. These pages that I have after that are actually additional pages that you can choose from if you want to include them. And you could put them here at the front of the planner, you could put them at the back of the planner. These are just kind of like the extras. So use anything here that you like. I actually did not print off all of them. There are more than just what I have here to show you. But just to give you a general idea of some of the ones that are available, we have books to be read, shows to watch, restaurants to visit, movies to see, home projects, other projects, and then a gratitude log. I actually would love to print out one of these every month and keep that within my monthly pages. If any of these are a focus for you, you could easily put them within your month as well. And then the last one from this section that I printed is the daily habit tracker. There were actually two different versions of a habit tracker, I believe. This is the one I liked best, and I wanted to reuse it. So this is one that I printed and then laminated it so that I can use it over and over again. I can just use like a wet erase marker on it and then just clean it off at the end of each month and use it again. You also could just print a new one of these every month if that's what you would prefer. But I just thought this was a really good example of something that could be reused every month, and so I decided to laminate it. And now we're going to get into the months. And I do want to clarify, when you see things like this, that's like an alignment issue, that was totally my fault. I should have cut this page differently. This was not the fault of the file, I promise. It's because I scaled it down from its original size, and then I just wasn't paying attention to how I was cutting it, and so that's why it looks like this. So I just want to clarify, that was 100% a user error on my part. That has nothing to do with the quality of these files. So I did print each of the months on cardstock, so just the front page, so I could kind of use it like a divider. And now that I know that I misaligned it when I cut, I would probably reprint them, make them a little bit nicer, since the whole reason why I did it on cardstock was so I could add tabs if I wanted to. So if it's something like that where I'm trying to keep it nice, I would probably reprint it so that it would look a little bit better. So I did print the first page of every month on cardstock just to make it a little bit more durable. I had intentions of putting tabs on it too. You can purchase sets of tabs on Amazon for fairly cheap, or you can even buy some from like Avery that are like the peel and stick ones. Those work perfectly fine. I've used those before and they hold up really well also. There's lots of options if you want tabs. And one thing I want to explain is that I printed January through April, but all of the weekly pages are going to be in April because I have quite a few that I printed that I wanted to show you. And so January through March is only going to be the monthly pages that are provided in this planner. And that is how the files are organized. So you have a set of pages at the beginning that is like your intro pages. Then you have those extra pages that I showed you. They're like the books to be read, movies to be watched, those types of pages. And then you have a file that is all of your monthly files. So your monthly calendars and then the monthly prep pages, which I will show you in just a second. And then you get into all of the weekly layout. There are over 30 different layouts that you can pick from. But for now, let's just focus on the months. In all of the available pages, you have the choice between choosing a Sunday start or a Monday start. I like my months to start on Sunday, and so that's what I picked. You also could choose one that starts on Monday if you like it that way. Same goes for all of the weekly pages. You can choose ones that are Monday start or Sunday start. Both are available for you. The other option that she gives you is the choice between a neutral version and a colorful version. So this is the colorful version, but there is a completely grayscale version. If you are looking to print it on the cheaper side, you can always choose that as well and still have the same functionality. So here is our monthly calendar. I feel like these boxes are a pretty good size. They're about standard for this size of planner. And then we just have a notes sidebar over here on the right side. And then up at the top of the page, it does say focus. So you can add your focus for the month. And then for every month, we have 3 additional planning pages. So here's our January goals and focus where we can reflect, pick our goals, choose a habit to track. On this side, we can brainstorm projects, rest, chore schedule, and how to connect with people. And then the very last page that we get is a monthly meal ideas. So here you can just write down any of the meals that you're thinking of. And so then when you go to plan out your meals, it'll make it a lot easier. So I love this idea. I think this is very comprehensive and very helpful to have each month. So all of the months have those same pages. So here's February and the February planning pages. And then at the end of February, as well as at the end of some of the other months, we have seasonal refreshes. So here we have some pages for spring. So we have a reflect and refresh page, spring goals, and it shows March, April, and May in here. Then we have a page for spring plans and some spring meals. Now, I actually really do like planning meals seasonally. When it's hot in the summer, I'm not going to make soup. That's just not something that's going to go over very well in my home. And in the winter months, I do tend to make more cozy type meals. And so I love the seasonal meal planning as well. It even has a space for different meals to try, meals for busy nights, and just miscellaneous ideas. And then at the very end, we just have a notes page. And I don't remember if this is actually the page that naturally comes next or if it came in because of the way I printed this planner. I think it normally does come in here, but there are some pages that I rearranged. So just keep that in mind. But it was very few changes. I really tried to keep the integrity of the planner the same as the way it came, just to make it easy for you to understand what was inside. So here we have the beginning of March calendar, and then our March planning pages. And then I wanted to show you a little bit different for April. So this is the April divider, and I did laminate this one. But because normally on the back of the April divider would be the monthly calendar, I actually didn't do that. So I just printed the divider page and I laminated that. Then I added in a notes page. So this is where things are a little bit out of order. This notes page normally isn't here because it normally would just go into the monthly calendar. But I added this in so that there would be something on the other side of the April divider if I were to laminate it. And I actually really like this idea because I love my note space. And so I really like the option of just adding in some extra note pages. So here we have the April calendar and then of course the April planning pages. And now we're going to get into the weekly layouts. All of the weekly layouts come with a pre-planning page at the beginning, as well as a reflection page at the end. Now, I did not print these pages for every single weekly layout, but I did for most of them. And for the most part, this is what the page looks like. In many of the layouts that I saw, this is the one that seemed the most prominent. But I do have some other ones that I will show you as well. At least one other one. I don't remember if there's one or two extra that I printed, but I know that there's at least another layout for like this pre-planning page. So this one has your meal plan here at the top, and then a to-do list right here, and then this do not forget bar down here at the bottom. I love the idea of being able to just brain dump your to-do list every week. I do that anyway, and so I think that's great to just incorporate that into the layout. And then I'm going to go over the reflection page. So this is the reflection page for just looking back on the week. So we have what went well, what was a challenge, and what do you want to change for next week, as well as the best memory of the week, and then a notes section. So I'm going to flip quickly through the different weekly layouts. Just know that most of these are the same. If there are some changes, I will try to point them out. But I really just want to focus on what some of your options are for a weekly layout. So this is the first one I picked. You have your weekly schedule over here, and then you have a lot of different planning space over here. You have some notes, priorities, you have a habit tracker, and then just a regular list. And then the next one, we have your schedule right here. There's some meals, top 3, tasks, prayers, priorities, daily habits, and then a note space. This one is like a full 2-page layout. So you have a space for plans up here, prayers, today's verse, notes, and meals. So I really love this layout. I love breaking things up into sections. I really love most of these layouts. I think they are all really good in their own way. So it just depends on what's going to work best for you at the time. And the fantastic thing about this planner is that when one of them isn't working for you anymore, it's so easy just to switch it out and choose a different layout. And of course, if any of these categories don't resonate with you, you can always just cover them up and replace them with something else, but you still have the same basic layout to plan with. All right, and then the next one that we have is even more categorized. So you have 6 different sections along here, and then one for meals down here at the bottom. This one is actually more of a budget layout. So right here you have budget notes, You have each day of the week, and then down here on each day you have a space for expenses. So you can actually keep track of what you're spending each day. And depending on what your budget looks like, you might even be able to fit your budget for the week in this sidebar. All right, and then the next one we have, this is the wellness layout. So you have today's plan, home, work, but then down here at the bottom we have exercise, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and water. Over here on Sunday you also have a small checklist for prep for next week. And then our sidebar here is our home and work to-do list. And then we have a small habit tracker over here at the top and priorities over on this side. And then I think this next section is where I stopped adding in all of the intro pages. So now we should just be able to flip through each of the individual layouts. So this one we have prayers, priority. We have a space for each day of the week with a meal section down at the bottom. And then here we have a habit tracker, words to live by, and then a home and work to-do list. This one is more of a horizontal view. You have priorities and prayers here at the top, and then weekly tasks. Then on each day of the week, you have a lined notes section here, and then a checklist over on this side. On this one, Saturday and Sunday do share a row, and so you're not going to get both the checklist and the line notes. They just have line notes on each of those. Here we have a vertical that is sectioned into the 3 boxes. These are lined though, so if you like a lined vertical, this one might work really well for you. Over here on the sidebar, we have prayers and priorities, and then we have meals down here at the bottom. And then this is another version of the horizontal that you can choose from, but it has each day divided into 3 sections right here. At the top, we have prayers, and then you have your 3 priorities, and then a note section down here at the bottom. All right, and now I want to go into some of the daily layouts. So disregard this page. This is just an extra one I printed. I double printed some of the layouts on accident. So ignore this one for now. But for the daily pages, they come with this page that you put at the beginning of the week so you can still get your weekly overview. So we have all of the days of the week here, top 3, home and work. And of course, if you don't need a column for work, you could always switch that out with something else if the work category doesn't apply to you. And so here are some of the daily layouts. So each of these are one separate day. So we have this one that has an hourly layout. We have priorities, habits, meals, notes, and move. On this page, we have daily habits, priorities. You have your hourly schedule and a space for dinner. Then you have today's verse, prayers, and notes. Here's another one of the preview pages for the week. So this daily layout has daily habits, your schedule, a space for dinner. Then you have prayers, must do, should do, could do. I do really like dividing up tasks like this. If you are feeling overwhelmed by everything that you need to get done, this might be a really good layout to try just in order to be able to more easily prioritize what are the things that are most important that get done that day. And then on this page, we have priorities, prayers, we have a checklist here, a grid space here, a dot grid up here, and then just a line section. So this one has a lot of flexible space that you could just use however you need it. I personally don't have a lot of like appointments scheduled things, so the hourly doesn't usually work well for me. Something like this would probably work better for me and my schedule just because I would never fill this up. So layouts like this, I really appreciate too. This is another really good one because this, instead of having an hourly layout, just has brain dump. So we have habits, prayers, brain dump, priorities, which you can pick your priorities after your brain dump. Usually on planning pages, you'll see the priorities above the brain dump or above your regular to-do list. And that always makes me feel like I'm duplicating things. When you do it like this, I feel like you're just getting all of those ideas out of your head. And then here you're picking the things that actually need to get done. So I really like that. And then instead of breaking it up by hour, we have morning, afternoon, and evening boxes. And then the last one that I have to show you is this layout. So you have space for prayers, priorities, meals, top 3, and then you have 4 different checklists that you can label and categorize however you want. And then a general notes section down here at the bottom. This is another one that would work really well for me just because I really do work mostly off of to-do lists. So one more thing I want to share is that Kayse is actually offering a Plan Your Year Live. That will be on December 13th. And so if that's something you're interested in, you can actually purchase it as a bundle with the planner. So you can choose whether you just want to purchase the planner files or whether you want to bundle it with the live event. So if you are overwhelmed by setting up your planner for a new year, or maybe just love the idea of this planner but don't know how to use it, I would highly recommend grabbing a ticket to the Plan Your Year Live event. She will be there to answer any questions that you have. and give you tons of guidance on setting up your planner. And if you do decide to order, remember to use my code BEAUTIFUL in order to get $15 off the full price of the planner. I hope this was helpful explaining a little bit more about this planner. I know sometimes things online are really hard to see from sales pages, and it's so much easier to see a flip through of it, and so I hope this was helpful to you. Obviously, I could not print out every single layout and every single page that's offered. There are so many different options to choose from, so this is by far not all-inclusive, but I hope that it was enough to just give you a better idea of what you're getting if you order this planner. If you do still have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments. I will answer anything I can, and if I don't know the answer, I will ask Kayse and find out for you. She is very kind and very knowledgeable. I am constantly impressed by everything that I learned from her. I really love what she has done with this planner. I love the flexibility of it. That's something that's very important to me. And so I just really hope that you love this planner too. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.